Hello, everybody. This is Wolf Motorsports broadcast, and welcome to the inaugural round of the 2023 World Motorsport Championship. What an exciting time it is! The start of the racing season here at the top level of Grand Prix racing. I am Johan Betravison, our lead commentator. I'm, of course, joined by my partner in crime, color commentator, Wolf, of course, for Wolf Motorsports broadcast. Wolf, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. A new regulation has potentially mixed up the field. We've got new drivers in new places, a new champion as well. We've got a lot of new things for this season, and we don't quite know the pecking order just yet. Qualifying may have given us a clue, but we don't know just yet the exact specifications of everything.
That's right. The long anticipated Project Alpha Grand Prix regulations have finally, after a year's delay, made their debut. And I'm so excited because after what we saw last season, where we had Yuli and Yaikriff and Chiaki Hashimoto, the lead drivers for Steinman and Rossini, they were duking it out with the Russian superstar Olga Makarova of Rezzarto Corsa. They had, unfortunately, Yaikriff and Hashimoto both had DNF'd very late in the title fight, which gave Makarova a commanding lead that she took advantage of. And they'll be looking to avenge themselves here in 2023. And this is a good opportunity with the new Project Alpha regulations. Perhaps Steinman and Rossini have gotten the jump on Rizzato with their after their meteoric rise in the previous rule set. There's a lot still to figure out, and some new faces here at the bottom. We've also got, to everyone's surprise, brand new debutante convert from the feeder series of GT Challenger, Carolyn Giese. There's also Teresa Lee, who made her step up from the Asia Pacific Super Cup at Verde Equipo. Remo Zuber, Felix Sardelic, Apollo McBride. A lot of new faces here in the World Motorsport Championship, and I am really excited to see how they all get on. Um,
Yeah.
but
Don't forget about the familiar faces back for some more. Obviously, Yaikriff and Hashimoto, as you mentioned, Pascal Becker and the legendary flying Richtograph. Zoe Sharp as well. We've got her. She's back again in that Katano. Aki Lipinen and Bashir. That Asia Road lineup is a deadly pair when they're on their game. But with that out of the way, we should probably get to the starting grid, right? We should tell them how everything's played
yes,
out.
we should. And we will start with the front row here. It is Julian Yaikriff of Steinman Motorsport. He's gotten off to a good start already and finds himself in a good position. A 10th, beat Nikolai Surikov, the runner-up man at Rizzato, in second place. Steinman and Rizzato here in the front row. Let's see if they can maintain their advantage into turn one.
Row two is an all red affair. The red Rossinis of Hashimoto, and we got the newcomer Jacqueline, the Dutch woman, alongside. Both of this pairing I kind of like. You've got the experienced Hashimoto in that car, and then the young upstart in the other car as well. I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out. And since they're on the same row and separated by very thin margins, I'm looking to see how this will play out.
You got to remember, Wolf, Jacqueline Ostenreich has been here for 4 years now at Rossini. She's reasonably well established. She may be young. She's made a name for herself already. But anyway,
It's hard
we're getting
to
sidetracked.
it's hard to take out Hashimoto though. She's a good driver.
Yeah, yeah. To be this close is a good start. But in the third row, of course, it is the big question mark of the entire front-running field, at least. In fifth place for Steinman Motorsport, fresh out of GT racing. This is an entirely new discipline for her. And at the front, with, of course, being backed by the Steinman Young Drivers Program, it's Carolyn Giese from the home nation of Steinman. Carolyn Giese qualifying in fifth, 3/10 down on her teammate. It's not too bad for a starting run. She's got her work cut out for her. And then, of course, in sixth, we've got Aki Lipinen, or sorry, Pascal Becker in sixth. My bad.
No, it's the flying Richtograph. You keep forgetting who is who. But anyways, we got Theresa Lee in the Verde Equipo car. The Chinese driver got seventh, which is a good result. And Kayohisha Bashir, I told you he's a good driver, and he proved it in qualifying. 8th on the grid in that Asia road racing car. The Japanese driver always has a really aggressive style, and I love seeing it in qualifying.
And on the fifth row of the grid here in ninth and 10th, we've got the secondary Verde Equipo driver, Laura Ingledew. They've got some promise here by qualifying seventh and ninth. It's a little bit better than what they normally expect, but they need to deliver in the race. And in 10th, we have the Van Dort teammate to Wolfgang Schmidt, who made it into Q3. Credits to him for doing that. It's Jeremy Woodford, the paid driver.
And on the strategic front row, as we always call it, it is the Aussie Zoe Sharp. She can always be a threat, and with free choice of tires, that could be a big advantage for her and the Catano team. Alongside is Ricky Castley in the Zach Motorsport car. A bit of a surprise package here. Almost made it to Q3, only missed out by a quarter of a second.
And then, of course, on the seventh row, we've got Zoe Sharp's teammate, Zoya Udris. It's the double Zoe threat here, as they've been called in preseason testing here with Kitano Sport. The Latvian has done a decent job in 13th. She's elected to take a different strategy and go a bit more aggressive in this opening stint, which is why she's put the soft tire on. And then to her outside, we've got Rene Cote, the rookie from Endurance Racing, has finally made her switch over to single seaters after spending several years in endurance racing. But Velan will need a miracle to be able to keep themselves in the running. Of course, with a new regulation, they have plenty of opportunities to remain in the WMC, but 14th place, of course, is a good starting position for that.
And 15th and 16th are bad spots either for our row A drivers. Scuderia Pregusa's Winston Margate starts 15th. Not a bad qualifying result for him. And Esteban Ribeiro, the veteran Brazilian in the second Zach Motorsport car. Definitely disappointed to be out-qualified by his teammate, but he does seem pretty upbeat right now for this season.
And perhaps this is the most shocking row overnight that we saw. In row 9, the Windsor #1 driver of Pascal Becker, deeply, deeply dissatisfied with his lap, lost a ton of time, and he is well behind his teammate Rick de Graaf, who, again, showing that psychological pressure on his teammate. Becker's got his work cut out for him, but not as shocking as the reigning, defending World Motorsport champion Olga Makarova running wide on her lap and being forced to settle for 18th place because Doha is a long racetrack. Easily 2 minutes plus. You've only got time for one lap, and 18th was the best she could put together.
One lap is all car #1 got for qualifying, but one session is all row 10 managed to achieve in qualifying. Molly Fox, the American driver, on row 10, 19th. Not the best starting spot for her, and neither for Aki Lipinen, the current iteration of the Flying Finns. He was not happy either, especially seeing his teammate get into Q3. But he did tell everybody in an interview after qualifying that while he was frustrated at his qualifying performance, he's looking forward to this package and feels that he has a lot more to give to this car and that the car can give even more. So, fighting words from Aki Lipinen.
Fighting words indeed. I'll tell you who is not feeling the fighting words after this horrendous Q1 exit, showing how close the field now is with these new regulations. Wolfgang Schmidt, the lead driver for Van Dort, who said in preseason testing, it's now or never for Van Dort, among the many words that he said. And starting 21st, I hope that is not a foreboding sign of things to come for the team, because this enormously talented driver who's been with the team for 10 years at this point might be walking out if they can't make any meaningful progress up the field. And to his outside, we got Remo Zuber for Thornton, the new rookie in the green car.
And on the back row, tail end of the field, we got Felix Sardelic on the back row in the Thornton in 23rd, hoping that he can maybe make some progress from the back of the field. And alongside, we got McBride and the other Velan. Both of these guys were not particularly happy and looked a little dejected, honestly. The field's a bit spread out all over the place. We got vast gaps between teammates in some situations, if Lipinen and Bashir are anything to go by. But regardless of that, oh yeah, and those two, yeah, you're right, those two. But it doesn't matter now. What matters now is those 5 red lights as they come on. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 lights! And the new season is underway. It's a brilliant start from Yaikov on the front row. Surikov tucks in second. Hashimoto going to the inside, trying to take second off of him. Didn't get there. Spin at the back. It's one of the Van Dorns. It's Jeremy Woodford around in the middle of the field. Everybody misses him. Rick Castley got a flyer. He's up at the 10th, I see in the middle of the field. Makarova didn't go anywhere off the start. She got a terrible start.
Becker as well.
Terrible start for the defending champion. Becker didn't go anywhere either. Wolfgang Schmidt, look at him. He's up at the 13th. Is that right? On my screen, he's up at the 13th.
Unbelievable. He gained eight positions in one lap. I know that this first corner is a bit of a confusing one with how it is a bit of a horseshoe, which causes some cars to make the wrong choice in terms of which lane to cover. But that was great management from Schmidt. He's up to 13th already.
The middle sector is great for the middle sector is great for switchbacks. We're seeing here with Castley, by the way, but at the back, both of the Thorns are trying to duel with each other. I'm being told. They almost took each other out, and Zuber on the radio was not happy at that.
Of course he wouldn't be, but as we approach the end of the first lap, when the kinetic energy recovery system will activate, it is Yulian Yaikriv, Nikolai Surikov, Chiaki Hashimoto, Jacqueline Osterreich, and Carolyn Giese, the top five. And there's Hashimoto looking for move around the outside, but Surikov will hold the line, and we see an overtake towards the back. It's the midfield. It is Lee in 7th place, overtaking Kyohisa Bashir.
Indeed, and again, big props to Wolfgang Schmidt. He went on the soft tire, had nothing to lose from where he started, and somehow he's up into 12th. He might have a chance of scoring some points here. Sharp gets by Castley in the background there, up into 10th and into the points. Meanwhile, Rick de Graaf, quite literally, he's flying up. He's up into 5th now, and he's staring at the back of the second Rossini.
Jacqueline Osterreich needs it's a duel of the Dutch people here. The Flying Dutchman and the Flying Dutch Woman, 4th and 5th, who will have the supremacy into this first term. And we're seeing that Nikolai Surikov was able to deploy a little bit more battery and get a bit of a faster lap than Yaikriv, but it doesn't mean too much because Yaikriv has things in control right now, as we are seeing a Verde Equipo sandwich with Kyohisa Bashir in 8th, and Becker just pulled off a double overtake to move into 14th, but he's got some work to do to catch Castley and Sharp on the same tire.
This Dutch pair they're still going at it. Look at that! Giese up the inside of de Graaf. Giese pulls a fast one on de Graaf of all people, getting by the Dutchman, and she moves up into 5th place. This German is going for it. She wants to make a good impression in the Steinman, as her teammates up in the lead.
They say Robin's racing with Carolyn Giese because of her experience in GT racing,
lockup for Surikov.
Making it up to 5th is a good start.
Big lockup for Surikov there, and that might give Hashimoto a run into turn 1. Sorry to cut you off there, but Hashimoto might have a run into turn 1 on Surikov with that lockup. Surikov defensive into 1, holds on to it.
Same exact tactics there. Just exactly what I was expecting from Nikolai. We know exactly how he likes to drive this Rezzarto. He's been with them for 6 seasons, and he knows exactly what's coming with Hashimoto.
Indeed. And meanwhile, further back, further back, in fact, there it is now. Car 1, Olga Makarova, our champion, struggling to get by the Canadian Rene Cote, who dive bombs Winston Margate and gets by Margate. That's impressive from Rene, the Canadian driver. She's up into 15th and is holding off the defending champion. So that's a bit of a surprise. Yeah. Laura Ingledoom gains a place on Bashir in the background, as we can see
Here we go for round 3 with Hashimoto.
Hashimoto again. Can she get to the inside? No, Surikov blocks the inside again into turn 1. It's so hard to go around the outside in these corners here in Sector 1. But if you can hang on through Sector 1, Sector 2 is switchback central. As we're being told, Winston Margate is locked up as Makarova sent it on the British driver and makes it through. Makarova up at the 16th.
That's exactly what Makarova's known for. She's able to
inflict
pressure
teammates.
To keep the overtake off, and that's Stephen Lee making the move on her more experienced teammate into 7th. Teresa Lee, not Stephen. My apologies. I don't know where that came from. Teresa.
Still, great move between the Great battling between the teammates there. Meanwhile, our defending champion still struggling in 15th place. Make that 14th as finally she gets by
Nope,
Rene Cote.
15 still.
Oh, 15th still, sorry. Well, she was 16th. She's now 15th, but she's cleared Rene Cote now. But Cote down the inside of the defending champion makes it stick. What a move from Rene Cote.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Rene Cote was blocked. Ricky Castley blocked Makarova for a second there, which allowed Cote to slip back in. And look who's in the points now. That was Wolfgang Schmidt trying to go on some Sharp. It's going to work.
Sharp locked up. Oh. Sharp locked up and dropped 2 spots because she almost drove it off the road. Becker's now up into 11.
That was a close one.
That was close. We're
hearing on the radio here. Uh-oh. Oh, what is this?
Oh, no! Carolyn Geese smoking! Big blow up for Carolyn Geese and Steinman. The engine is blown after only 6 laps. Oh, no!
No, that is a horrific start for what is such a promising rookie, and that is how she exits only 6 laps with one of the best cars in the field. That is heartbreaking.
Surkov were being told, oh no, Yaikrif! Both Steinmans are out! The engine is blown on Yaikrif's car and DeGraff has crashed in the oil!
There's more happening as well!
DeGraff
crashed!
Oh, DeGraff is claiming, DeGraff said over the radio, I hit oil or something, the car just went on me. So Rick DeGraff has crashed out, and both Steinmans are out with engine failures after only 7 laps. That's unbelievable. And now Surkov leads.
What did we just see?
A catastrophe for the Steinman team is what we've just seen. I can't believe it. And wow. That is unbelievable. I was about to say before that blow up, by the way, as Jeremy Woodford comes into the pit lane, that Makarova was screaming over some choice words over the radio at the Canadian driver of Rene Cote. She was not happy at Rene's defensive driving there and the dive bomb in the turn 1. But I suppose that doesn't matter now. Two of her potential title rivals for her crown are out of the race.
I'm hearing, by the way, from one of our pit lane reporters here, Marvin Bumble, that the Steinmans. The early speculation is that there may have been a faulty fuel sensor on Carolyn Giese, which gave them incorrect fuel readings, and they burned twice as much fuel as was expected. That is really unfortunate, and I have no idea what happened with Yaikrif's car, but perhaps with that engine blowing up, might have triggered some of the oil to spill and forced DeGraff into a mistake.
DeGraff claims he hit something, and I'm just looking at the replay on my little monitor in front of me here, and he hit something. I mean, there was a lot of smoke just around the corner from where he crashed. So it's possible that Yaikrif was leaking something beforehand, and that before the big smoke came out of his car, and DeGraff hit whatever that was and crashed. Although, I'm surprised Surkov held on, given that Surkov and Hashi and the Rossinis were ahead of him. So, I suppose tough break for DeGraff then, whatever happened there. As for the Steinmans, they're going to have a lot of questions to ask back at their high-performance powertrain division. And
all right, we're about to get started with the safety car restart, and we are hearing over the radio from Franz Tost, Plan A. Keep it on Plan A. That was a big surprise, but we got to extend our stint. So it's all up to Nikolai Surikov, who's in first, and Makarova has recovered to 11th, but still work is to be done for her. As the safety car restart has begun, Surikov is being pressured by the 2 Rossini drivers, Hashimoto and Osterweg.
The teammates.
Laura Ingledew makes her move into 5th place. Great move.
Apparently, apparently it was organized on the restart to let Laura through to take a crack at the Rossinis. Meanwhile, Makarova, there she is. She's 10th now behind both of the Katanos as they're trying to duel with Wolfgang Schmidt. Where did he come from? 21st is where he came from. Makarova down the inside of the Katano. Sorry, that was Sharp she went down the inside of.
Great move into 10th, and Schmidt was in 21st. He was briefly 7th for a
To
point,
the
and
inside of
Becker now in
Udris.
7th.
To the inside of Udris for 9th. Olga Makarova has hit the nitro button and is flying to the inside of Wolfgang Schmidt for 8th. Makarova is flying on this restart. Look at her go. That is insane speed from the number one car. That is amazing.
This is exactly the point in time where the mediums would be good on a safety car
Whoa,
restart because those qualifying softs are beginning to
to
struggle
the
a little
inside
bit.
of
There she
Becker
moves
for
into 7th
now.
looking for 6th on Bashir.
Olga,
oh my goodness!
Olga Makarova showing why she's the number one. Why she has the number one on her car. That is a statement on the restart for her.
Oh, but tell you what else might have been a statement. Bashir had his flap open to try and make a move on the rookie Teresa Lee. Gonna go around the outside, but Teresa will cover it as things stand. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead is not sorted yet. Hashimoto's still right in the gearbox of Surikov. Surikov wasn't able to run away in the same way that Yulian Yaikriv did on the start.
The front three are slowly pulling away from each other. They're slowly pulling away from the Ingledew behind, as the Verde appears to not have enough speed to keep up at the moment. As Becker back down the inside of Makarova, and now Makarova has to defend from Udris behind. Now Udris wants the payback for that restart, as Makarova clearly had the tires at the temperature first. Udris down the inside, almost cuts the corner, gets away with it. Gets away with it though. That's legal. Makarova back down the inside in the hairpin at the end of the lap. Gets 8th back off of Udris. Did not want to let that get away. Let Udris get away with that and didn't. Rene Code pits at the back, by the way. First pit stop of the race.
Battle for the lead briefly. That is Hashimoto and Surikov. Hashimoto's got to move. Can she find it? Surikov was able to defend it there. Great defending by Surikov.
A big niet from Surikov to Hashimoto.
I was going to say that we don't know too much about the pecking order, but we still do know that Verde Equipo Formula, if they're up front, can cause a massive DRS train just like before. Pascal Becker and Kielisa Bashir and Olga Makarova now stuck behind.
Whoa, Makarova!
What a move!
That one came out of nowhere. That was a dive bomb from Makarova to the inside of Becker in the hairpin.
No,
almost
Becker
got
it. Becker knew it was coming. And there goes Lee bailing out and freeing these two people to race.
Lee pits, and if Lee gets a really good outlap with clear air that she's about to get, that could maybe give her a chance at least of fighting the Rossinis on pit exit when they stop. Lee has went for the medium tire, by the way.
He has immediately caught Ingledew, who herself was quite a bit ahead of Teresa Lee.
I believe those soft tires are starting to go on the leaders now. Those soft tires are starting to go, I believe. As Hashimoto locks up in an attempt to try and keep up with Surikov, and Jacqueline moves up into 2nd now. So Jacqueline now takes 2nd off of Hashimoto. And look at this mess. As Becker tries to get by Ingledew, Ingledew doesn't want to give it up.
Moved her right back into the front. Oh my goodness. Rossini's classic team orders. We all love them. Love them in quotes. But that's exactly what we just saw with Hashimoto moving back and forth.
Oh, but Jacqueline's not done. Jacqueline's not done. Jacqueline back down the inside of her teammate. We just caught that at the corner of the main feed as Ingledew smokes her tires badly.
For Ingledew there.
But yeah, Jacqueline doesn't want to give this up. Still trying to fight her team leader is Jacqueline. She still wants a piece of this. To the inside of Hashimoto. Jacqueline takes 2nd off of her teammate. What a move from Jacqueline.
Austin Reich, and I think at this point, Rossini decided there's no point in moving Austin Reich back in front because Hashimoto is still fighting this. What are we seeing here?
Whoa! And here comes Bashir back down the inside of Ingledew. Ingledew's tires are finished apparently on the radio, as there's more traffic jam behind. That's Schmidt. That's Udris. Too wide in a 2x2 behind them now in the lower points positions. This is amazing battling.
And I like what I'm seeing from Pascal Becker and Olga Makarova. They are well clear of the other dead soft tire runners
That's
here, and fourth
Lipinen.
and fifth in a good position to inflict pressure.
Lipinen just
As
snuck up into 10th from the back from the back. He's up into 10th now. The Finnish driver. He's flying. Quite a few people
that
in the
was
medians are flying now. The medians are really working here. Sharp down the
yep,
inside of
sharp making
Ingledew.
moves.
Ingledew continues to plummet down the field. Meanwhile, her teammate is setting competitive lap times on those medium tires in clear air. She's going to definitely be ahead of some of these people who have not stopped yet.
And we're seeing at the back Woodford locked up. But I was gonna say that these Rossini cars, if they just get their act together and work together, then they could take the fight to Nikolai Surikov. But they're outside of the slipstream range now, which is really unfortunate.
Schmidt's tires are going. He had a horrible exit out of the first complex in the first few corners, and just went nowhere on traction and let several people through, including Castley. And is that McBride? That's McBride.
That's a Paul McBride. I was going to say, give a call to McBride. She almost tried to make a move on him, but Ricky Castley smartly shuts that down.
And remember, McBride started.
Again.
And remember, McBride started last as someone's in the pit lane. It's Udris.
That's Udris. Makes sense. Move, keep sharp into the clear air and attack Bashir with how dead their tires are. I'm amazed we managed to go this long on these tires. Of course, this is the new Doha layout, which is meant to smoothen the flow of the lap, and I'd say it's done a good job so far. But we've gone a long time on these tires.
Indeed, we have. But how long can those saws still hold on for the people up at the front? Because they had to run their qualifying tires from Q2, so surely they must be fading now. As Ingledew was showing, as Castley Mick gets through up into 9. Bashir drops a place. And by the way, the two Asia roads are now next to each other on track. Bashir 7th and Lipinen 8th. As Ingledew finally comes in. Surikov locks up on his tires up at the front, by the way. Where will Ingledew? Ingledew's going to come out way behind her teammate now. Look at that on the timing tower. Ingledew's going to be at least. Ingledew's going to be at. Oh, Ribeiro spins. Crash. It's Schmidt. Oh. Wolfgang Schmidt in the wall.
No! Unbelievable! That beautiful start from him now means nothing, and Wolfgang Schmidt is no longer in the fight, but I'll tell you who is. The medium runners have caught up to the Rossinis. That's Pascal Becker looking for Jacqueline Ostenreich.
And that's Makarova right there that's Makarova right behind him. By the way, Ingledew came out almost 10 seconds behind her teammate. So that was so staying out that long was extremely costly for Ingledew in the teammate battle there. Meanwhile, Becker is trying to go around the outside into turn 1 on I believe that's Jacqueline, and Makarova almost got through. As well as we're being told Surkov's boxing.
Yeah, we just heard that team radio. Plan A, still the target. Surikov is coming in. I mean, I'm impressed he's been able to hold on to the lead with this massive, ridiculous 4-car battle. I know that he struggles a little bit with keeping the tires in the optimal window, and there they are, Hashimoto and Jacqueline catching back up to him, with Becker and Makarova chasing them down. So I think makes sense to pit Surikov now because you don't want to inflict him under too much pressure.
Lipinen, by the way, has cleared Bashir and is now up into 7th and is pulling away from Bashir now. Makarova trying to put a move on Becker again as Surikov dives into the pits.
Oh, we're hearing a spin. Something happened. Let's take a look at that. Something happened. It was Winston Margaret, I believe, just completely whacked himself around the curb and lost a ton of time.
McBride pits, by the way, as well. Here comes Becker inside of Jacqueline Oosterreich. For second place now. Becker up into 2nd. Bashir is locked up behind, apparently. We didn't see that, but apparently Bashir is complaining that his tires are finished. As Makarova now eyes up the 2nd Rossini.
I'll tell you what, though, Surikov is not doing the same thing everybody else is doing. He is putting another set of softs on. Wants to keep
back over to the inside. Going. By the way, Lee has jumped Surikov in the pits. Lee is ahead of Surikov, not for much longer, as Surikov makes it through, up into 12th off screen. And there it is, actually. There it is.
He's making his move on Remo Zuber, goes through into ninth place. Great overtake on the back marker. Remo Zuber having a decent start in his first race of Thornton.
Hashimoto and Becker pitted, by the way. Hashimoto has pitted, comes out 12th, can see Surikov dead ahead, but look at the traffic jam she was in. That's Zuber and Lee in front of her. And Molly Fox.
Hashimoto's chosen the same strategy Surikov has. I don't blame her with how much time he has made up. It's good work from the Rezzarto team.
Indeed. Now, what can Surikov do as Hashimoto locks up, trying to keep pace, and falls behind Molly Fox for a moment, but gets back through with that Rossini power.
It's the cold tires. You got to warm them up on your outlap, and she just wasn't able to do that. That's really unfortunate. She's going to have to manage them more over the stint, as we are seeing Jacqueline Ostenreich in the pits now.
And Surikov easily passes Felix up into 7th now. Surikov on the charge. He's up into 7th, but now here's an interesting dilemma. Jeremy Woodford was the only person to pit under the safety car. He's P6 on newer medium tires than the people in front of him, but he has older tires than the people behind him.
They're not that much newer than the rest of the medium runners, only around about 6 or so laps.
Still can make a difference.
Only strategically as Surikov blows by him.
Yeah, it could still definitely make a difference here, as we've seen. These tires here, these Brutus tires can be so finicky at times. They can fall out of the performance window so fast, sometimes. So a few extra laps on those tires can make all the difference. As Surikov up into 5th now, past Rick Casserly.
And to that point, we're seeing that with Hashimoto, who couldn't warm them up properly on that lap, and now she is multiple cars behind Surikov, who is her main rival here. It's a really unfortunate situation for the Rossini driver, who looks to defend her championship after going back-to-back in 2019 and 2020. She wants to return to those heights here in 2023, and obviously with both Stymons out, it's a good start, but Nikolai Surikov has made an even better one.
I think something's happened to Winston Margay. He suddenly was about almost 2 seconds slower in the middle sector as Ribeiro tried to pass him, but apparently he got Ribeiro back, so I guess whatever was going on there is fine between those two. But Ribeiro now clears again as Lee moves back into the points. Lee's actually only less than a second behind Hashimoto, but they keep having to pass cars who have not stopped yet. So Lee's trying to match Hashimoto move for move as Woodford locks up, which doesn't help his situation at all. Ribeiro pits as well.
As there's Surikov now looking to clear Aki Lipponen. He is, well, not the race leader yet, of course, Pascal Becker, but he leads those that have pit already. And we just had a brief glitch in our television broadcast, but we're back now. And Surikov still looking for Aki Lipponen. This is a very difficult track to pass on. He should be able to get him through this straight, but this is lost time that he cannot afford. But luckily, Hashimoto's still stuck behind Jeremy Woodford, so it is at not too big of a cost to him. There he goes to the outside.
Boom! Makes the move to the outside. No, not quite. Oh, but he hangs in there. He hung in there and gets a run down the inside in turn 4. It gets through.
Surikov holds on to it. Good move there.
Lee is still keeping pace with Hashimoto, by the way. He's still trying to keep pace, but now has to pass Woodford herself again.
And Jacqueline is behind Teresa Lee in 10th place. This is a bit of a mixed-up field where we've got Becker, Makarova, and Zoe Sharp, who has now been caught up by Nikolai Surikov. Sharp's been doing a good job managing those tires. There's been a lot of rumors as to whether or not Sharp will continue in the WMC past this season because she and Catano have put together a lot of good results, but perhaps they just haven't gotten the car right this year. And there's Surikov blowing by her with ease into 3rd place.
By the way, we got team radio from Makarova's car. Safety car before lap 40. Both go plan C. So, what does plan C mean? What does plan C mean? Could that be the hard tire?
I supremely doubt it's the hard tire. There's been a lot of discussion as to whether or not that's even a useful tire to have because they have treads in them as opposed to the slick, soft, and medium tires, which is causing a lot of controversy. They don't provide much performance as a result, even though they are much more durable. But so there's
Makarova to the lead. We just missed that. We just missed that, but Makarova is just taking the lead off Pascal Becker. But
Or will Pascal Becker fight this? He's trying to, but I think Makarova knows what to do. The reigning world champion keeps the inside line.
so it took 29 laps, but car 1 is P1 now. As Jacqueline now going after Lee for 7th. And this is for
Teresa, oh,
that's
careful.
for position. Teresa trying to hang on to it, still hanging on to it. She doesn't care that's a Rossini, and forces
Oh,
Jacqueline to lock up.
forced her off the road, and that's the dirty part of the
And
road. And now
Becker's
she's
taking the
lost
lead
time.
back. Becker's back to the
Yeah,
lead.
Becker's taking the lead.
Wow. Becker managed to put one on the number 1.
I gotta wonder, what is Rick de Graaf feeling
Oof.
after that crash on lap 6, because his compatriot
Jacqueline to
Jacqueline
the
Osterreich is fighting
outside.
as hard as.
Switches to the inside. Classic move of Doha gets it done.
I was gonna say that Osterreich is fighting here in 7th, and his teammate Becker is defending the reigning world, is battling the defending world champion for the lead. Makes you wonder what he could have done with this car, which appears to be pretty competitive.
He was ahead of Becker at the time, although we have to also remember he was the cause of the safety car, so there would have been no safety car if that hadn't happened. So who knows? Because the safety car
Well,
definitely has
anyway,
shuffled the strategy a bit, as some people have not been able to run away as much.
well, we are on lap 30, so time is flying a good bit, as Zoe Sharp's now been caught by Chiaki Hashimoto. But still, battle for the lead continues. Makarova is really frustrated with Pascal Becker. Obviously, they didn't interact too much on the field last season, but with this leap forward, it looks to me as though Windsor have found an equal car here to the Rezzarto, as we're hearing towards the back. Bashir locked up on those fresher tires, keeping him in 18th.
Lippinen has dropped behind the Rossinis now and is about to lose another spot to Lee, but Felix
Sladelic gets a lockup.
Sardelich is locked up. But Jackie is charging. Is Woodford apparently is locked up. It looks like it's gotten a tiny bit cooler now, so I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Do with the lockups were being reported. But Jackie is really keeping pace with her teammate right now, and there's a slight offset in strategy between the two, so that could come into play. But now she's got to get by Sharp again, another car that's in the way to keep up pace with her teammate.
Well, it's roughly the same strategy that the two Rossinis are on, just offset by one lap. So there isn't that much difference between the two of them. But
Hashimoto
still, we're
did lock
seeing
up on.
Jacqueline.
Well, they both have locked up at least once on on their tires, so who knows? We don't know how well those tires are holding on after they lock them up. We've seen before what can happen when you lock them up too much. Remember that Nilo Sarian loss that he had?
Yes, I do remember that one. That was from years back. What a throwback. But as we are seeing a big overtake there from Jacqueline Osterreich into 5th place, that is a fine display of why Doha is an impossible track to overtake on. There's so many lines, there's so much dirty air, and very little room to make a move in the box section, as it's oftentimes known. Had to wait quite a bit, but finally got it done. And Makarova still stuck behind Becker, but she might have a run this time. Becker's
Ooh,
gonna cut the inside
shows the
off
nose
though.
to the inside, shows the front wing to the inside, in the inside turn 4, to the outside, going into the box section. Still fighting it. Still trying to get to the outside. She really wants this lead. Becker defending to the inside all the while. Can Makarova hang around the outside to switch it to the inside? No, can't
Oh,
get
she had to
there.
close off her DRS wing. Oh my goodness. Becker's still not letting this go. And that's bad news for Makarova, because guess who's in 3rd closing?
Indeed, it's Surikov. It's Surikov. Surikov's closing. The torpedo, as he's been called in the past by other drivers. He's charging hard. Lee is also on the charge. Past Lippinen now. Now he has Sharp ahead. Although Lee has lost quite a bit of time to the Rossinis, trying to get by Sharp and Lippin, trying to get by Lippin and Sharp.
Oh.
As Makarova to the lead again. Finally gets
Her
the move
tires
done.
finally gets the move done. But I was gonna say, Teresa Lee her tires are a reasonable age older than the softs of the front three in front of her, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But so that's part of why they were able to pull away a little bit. But I'm expecting Lee to close back in somewhat, because softs will eventually degrade and fall off. So they haven't fallen off yet, but they are in a position to eventually start to collapse towards the end of this stint here.
Indeed, they are. I also want to point out, by the way, every car still running is on the lead lap, and they're honestly not. Aside from the two at the back of Ribeiro and Margay, for which we're not sure what happened to them, the rest of the field's actually fairly close to each other. They're not too spread out like we've seen in the past. So these regulations seem to be working. The field is a lot closer again.
Yeah, we're seeing Windsor keep the advantage for a lot longer than I think they would have otherwise, and Verde Equipo putting pressure on the frontrunners. Can you imagine? They're usually just picking up the points whenever they don't finish. So this is a good start for the Verde Equipo team, who have lost their way a little bit in their current identity. Of
Meanwhile,
course, they used
Lena
to be known
Blue
as
trying to
Panther.
put some moves on in the middle of the field as no!
Oh,
Apollo McBride has retired.
We're hearing over the radio that it is a faulty gearbox for the Villan team. That is really unfortunate. Our fifth retirement of the race as we are just past the halfway point. And there is our first person to pit off of their starting mediums. It's Felix Sardelic in the Thornton. What tire will he put on? It's soft. He is not going to the end of this race. He wants to attack.
I believe this actually might be a smart move here. Put on the soft tires, put in a quick stint to try and get track position here, and if a safety car comes out, great. You can pit again and cover the rest of the race on that next stint. Or if there isn't one, you should have enough of a gap to be able to pull away. As Surikov has now caught Becker up at the front for second place, as Surikov goes through in turn one.
It's a Rezzarto 1-2, folks.
Becker has now caught his teammate right before the start. What will the Rezzartos do, though? What will the Rezzartos do? We're waiting. No change.
Oh, we got a big fight, though. Becker will push him to the end here.
Surikov to the inside of his teammate. Surikov back to the lead. And I'm hearing over the radio, Makarova said, "Okay, I'll let him go, but I don't like, but we need to watch Becker." So she was not happy about the call, but understood at least, and let him through at the first opportunity.
It's an understandable move, though, because obviously Surikov is
and
faster.
Surikov sets the fastest lap. He set the fastest lap into the bargain. Unbelievable.
I think that was partly assisted by Makarova moving out of the way. I mean, of course, we all know that Surikov wants to prove that it's his turn.
Oh, Makarova just locked up. That's not good.
This is bad news. Makarova's locked up. Those tires were already not looking good. She might not be able to make them back in time. Uh-oh, and there goes Pascal Becker
to the inside.
We gotta watch those. Oh my goodness!
Molly Fox in the pit lane.
That inside camera, Wolf. Those tires are delaminated.
I'm looking at her onboard. It looks like the front the front left is about to completely give out. I can see a massive flat spot there. It's incredibly bad, and the rear tires look very angry indeed. But it looks like she's just gonna make it back, and she boxes this lap.
That's a miracle. And she's going to go to the end of the race on a new set of mediums. One stop for Olga Makarova.
All right. Well, she's going to have the undercut on Becker regardless of this fact, and possibly the undercut on her teammate, Surikov. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out.
Ahead of Teresa Lee, so she does have a lot of clear air to make this work.
Indeed, 10 seconds of clear air, in fact, in front of her before she catches Jacqueline ahead. As look at Lippin and still not pitting yet, and trying to fight off Zoya Udris again. Lippinen wants to put on a show and show that his qualifying effort was not an indication of how good this car is.
And we're seeing, by the way, just a small note, as Zoya Udris finally makes the overtake, Zoe Sharp has also gone for the one stop, just like Olga Makarova. They were on the same page, Zoe Sharp and her race engineers, so I like to see that. Trying to go for points today, maybe even a top 8.
That could be very interesting indeed, as Lippinen still doesn't want to give this up to Zoya Udris, but I think the tire difference will tell now, as Rick Casserly pits.
Casserly's going to come in. Let's see what he does. He should pit for the one stop. Indeed, he does. He's going to the end of the race.
Oh, but look at the traffic in front of him. Look at the traffic jam that's in front of him. That's Woodford, Winston, Felix, and Ribeiro in front of him.
Now, I wonder what Pascal Becker's game plan here is, because he still hasn't stopped yet, and I don't think we're anywhere near close enough for the soft tires to work because we're still 29 laps to go. Your only realistic option here is to pit for another set of medium tires if you want to go to the end of this race. And of course, he's just letting Makarova pull enough of a gap with this undercut as we're seeing Aki Lipinen's in the pit lane.
Lippin and Pitts. I think Becker and the Windsor crew are gonna have to react sooner rather than later because if they don't, Lippinen might be a problem. Speaking of Lippinen, he's going bold. He's going soft tires.
That
So
is a very aggressive move as we see Becker still losing time. Sharp now has the fastest first sector. It's clear air for her. Those fresh mediums are working for her. She's in the points already and might be challenging for even more than that as we're seeing Becker finally comes in
finally,
and puts supers on.
ooh, puts on the soft tires with 28 laps to go. A bold, bold call from the Windsor crew again.
Wow, I guess they want to go do opposite of what Makarova did, and it seems to be they seems to have had a different plan in mind. And obviously, those two being so far back, they were on row 9 of the grid, and they are now dictating the pace of this race. With the Rossinis, who had the same strategy as Surikov, they are wayward. I mean, not wayward. They're second and third, which is a good result technically, but they're not really in the fight right now. They're kind of just taking the points as it comes to them. And Hashimoto has lost quite a bit of pace relative to Surikov.
Makarova is setting personal bets, by the way, all on her lonesome, and is slowly lurking up on the Rossini pair in front of her. Meanwhile, Surikov has locked up. Apparently, he says that my tires are melting.
They're melting like the sun in the Siberian desert. That is not good news for Nikolai Surikov. Hashimoto and Osterreich still second and third. Makarova is still making quite a bit of time on them, and as we see, Lipinen moves into 12th with those fresher super tires.
Indeed, indeed. And right now, the Asia Road teamers might have a dilemma soon if Bashir doesn't pit in the near future because Lipin is charging up on the back of his teammate in a hurry.
I
And
do believe that Bashir did pit a while back, as now we're seeing an
he
overtake
did.
from Zoe Sharp around the outside. Good maneuver for
In
her.
fact, yeah, he pitted on lap 23, whereas Lipin pitted only a few laps ago.
So I'm expecting this to be a relatively easy move, but of course there is some distance as we see an overtake for third. That is Jacqueline Osterreich and Olga Makarova to the outside goes Olga. He's going to
Makarova
try and force it, gets it to work.
pulls the same move again that worked on Becker.
Into third she goes. Great stuff.
And now has Hashimoto directly ahead and gets the fastest lap. Purple final sector. What a flyer of a lap from Makarova. She has seen red and is charging.
Well, the red mist is in her eyes. We know that she's the defending champion, and of course, she is really annoyed that she had to move out of her way for the driver that was second fiddle to her last season. He was fourth in the championship, and it's kind of disrespectful to a reigning champion to ask her to move out of the way. So we'll see if Makarova can reestablish her position in the lead. Obviously, Pascal Becker is trying to keep her honest, but he hasn't been able to do that. He's still 6 seconds back, hasn't gained any time on her.
He's still about 5 and a bit seconds behind, almost 6 now, as Surikov
As I
pits.
said,
Surikov into the pit lane, and Hashimoto. Hashimoto as well pits. And Jacqueline. Jacqueline's also in. They're double stacking up Rossini, and they didn't get it off in time. Didn't
and they're
work.
putting mediums on to go to the end of this race.
Interesting. So they're going medians. Surikov went sauce. Becker went sauce. Lipinen went sauce. What do Rossini know that the others did not? Do they think the medians will be the better tire to finish the race, or do they think the soft runners will have to stop again?
I mean, it could be the better tire, but they've got a lot of gap to recover here. They're fifth and eighth place behind Verde Equipo. Can you believe it? It seems that they were bad in like the early part of this on a high fuel setting, but it just seems that the Verde Equipo cars have come alive a little bit. They're fourth and seventh. Obviously, pit strategy dictates some of that a little bit, but they are keeping themselves in the conversation.
Both Rossinis are trying to pass both Verdes at the moment. This could get interesting real quick.
There's Jacqueline Osterreich looking for a move on Laura Ingledew. Tries to go around the outside. I don't think that's going to work, though. And
It
Jacqueline
almost
is
did.
going to be forced to
It
defend
might,
again.
it might work now. There goes Jacqueline to the inside of Laura. And
Oh,
nails
close one
it.
there. Nailed it. Great work. As we're seeing, Becker is finally chipping away at Olga Makarova's lead, but not before Hashimoto here has the fastest purple first sector. So it looks like the medium tire might be the right thing to go for here because we know that with how the soft and the medium tires are
Purple
designed,
second
we know that
sector.
the soft tire collapses very quickly. So Hashimoto, they want to not have that collapse
Speaking of
happen for them.
speaking of collapsing, Becker's tires might be Becker might be about to collapse under the pressure of Surikov charging behind. But look at that lap from Makarova 2:03.4.
That's a great lap there. She gained at least a second, maybe more. As Becker and Surikov still fighting for second. These two people have been at the top level for arguably longer than anybody else. We know that Becker was part of the Steinman Young Drivers Program the same way that Carolyn Giese is. And it seems to have worked out well for him because he's been pretty
Oh
good. As
no,
we are
Laura
seeing,
Ingle
here
do
at
a
the back.
spun. Laura Ingle do a spun. Apparently, she hit the curb in the cube section and spun and has lost out to Sharp now. Teresa Lee has locked up apparently after Hashimoto passed her by a while ago. Surikov
Commentators
still
curse. I
stuck.
was
Surikov still stuck behind Becker, still trying to get through. Oh, and
I
Lee
was just
Pitts.
about to
Never mind, it was old tires that caused that. Lee Pitts.
I was just about to start giving Verde Equipo credit, and there they are with a spin on one driver and a lock up for the other. That's just devastating. As Becker and Surikov both catching up to Makarova, they're piling the pressure on her, and Hashimoto might be putting the pressure on all three of these guys.
Medium
She
tires
is
for
within a pit stop now.
medium tires for Lee. I think Lee saw what Hashimoto was doing on those mediums and decided, let me get some of that.
Well, it doesn't matter though. She's in 13th, so it's not going to be too much. But we know that they have a little bit more pace in the low fuel setting now,
There
so
is
they might be able to make something out of this.
there is still a couple of cars in front that might need to stop again yet for Lee. So don't count her out for scoring a point. Teammate Ingledew will probably have to stop as well, so keep that in mind. As Surikov to the inside of Becker, trying to make the move and making a Rezzarto 1-2, and finally gets through on the Becker. Surikov up
Looks like
into
it's work.
second, and he
And
just
there's
said over the
Jacqueline
radio,
moving.
that felt good. Let's go.
All right. Yep, and I'm sure he's feeling good about Makarova being on older, sorry, medium compound tires, which she needs to nurse to the end. Surikov doesn't have to worry about that yet. He's going to be able to put more pressure on her though with this what should be the fastest lap after that overtake, and indeed it's going to work.
It
He gained a
was
second and a half on her.
20
That was great work.
2:03.1, almost 3/10 faster than what Hashimoto did. As Lippinen overtakes teammate Bashir for ninth. So that's interesting. Ingledew's tires are 31 laps old. Surely she has to pit. Rene
I don't
Kote
like
comes
what I'm seeing
in.
from Lippinen though, because he does need to manage these soft tires all the way to the end of the race. I don't see how he can do that. He is in ninth place right now, but it might not work as Rene Cote comes in for her final stop from 13th on the grid down to 17th. Been an okay race for her, but obviously Villan need to do a bit better than that.
This race has kind of
As
been
we
all over the place. We had several drivers making incredible charges in the early laps, only for them to come to a screeching halt. Except for
Schmidt.
Olga Makarova. Makarova is still first, and Lippinen still ninth. Zoja Udras pits. I didn't think
And
she had.
just like we were
I didn't think she had to pit again.
No, she did need to pit again, and it's now going to be softs to the end. But Sharp is in sixth. I think she could be on for a really good result because she doesn't need to stop at all. This could be maybe even a top five if
She
disaster
does need to
happens in
watch
front.
out though and not let Woodford pass her though on cold tires, because that would be a problem.
That would be a really bad problem. And yeah, we were seeing that Surikov is catching Makarova.
Indeed. This will be interesting. What will Rezzarto do? Will they let them fight, or will they let them fight on the assumption Becker isn't a threat, or will they tell Surikov to hold station or not? Because
If
if
I'm
Surkov gets through, I think Surkov might have the advantage to win this race. As
He'll
Felix
have the advantage
pits.
right now, but he will not have the advantage at the end. That's what Makarova is counting on because her tires will be in much better condition than Surkov's. I would not yield this time if I were Makarova because she's the reigning champion. She is here to win this race, and starting from 18th, I mean, between her and Pascal Becker, it's my vote for driver of the day. As we're hearing Becker's tires are beginning to slow down a bit. If I'm Becker, I'd come in now because you have almost a free pit stop to Jacqueline Ostenreich. As we are now 16 to go, Becker or Surikov has caught into the slipstream range of Olga Makarova. It's a Rezzarto battle now.
Indeed, it is. Teammates battling to try and prove that they should be the number one and the potential champion favorite. As Lipinen locks up, that won't help him trying to get to the end now. And I will say this. Something I'm noticing, Udris is making a bit of a charge as well. She's almost at the back of Bashir for 10th in the final point.
I mean, that makes sense. She is on the younger, softer tires, so she should be able to get back into the points. But it would be really good if Asia Road could pull out a surprise point here, because of course there's a Windsor gone, there's both Steinmann's gone, and Wolfgang Schmidt is out as well. So I there should be a lower course car getting a point. As we are seeing now, the battle for the lead started. Surkov's looking for it. And
Indeed.
Makarov has been told to move out of the way for Surkov. She refused to do it. Oh, she is refusing to cede position.
Ooh.
What is going on?
Makarova's making a point here. And the point is very simple. She has the number one on her car, not Surkov.
Yeah, she should have the priority here. I don't really like how Red Sato are managing this. Just because one driver's got a younger tire doesn't mean that they should be prioritized here. Because Surikov, those tires should collapse quite a bit in there. She's finally moved over.
Finally.
Surikov's tires will collapse at the end. So I
So
feel like I trust Makarova in this situation more.
and I trust
Personally.
Lipinen to make this move on Lee and
Laura Ingledew, it's going to be a double overtake on both of the Verde Kipos.
oh,
They're going to
three
sprint
wide
three
into turn
wide.
one. But Lipinen holds on. Lipinen wins.
Lipinen won out here, but I think the Verde Kipos are going to win the war because I think he has to stop again because it would be a miracle if he could stretch these tires to the end.
That is a brilliant move from Lipinen on tires that might be a little sketchy in the upcoming laps. So we'll see how
But look
oh,
at this.
wait a
What's
minute,
this at the
we're being
front?
told Makarova is taking a pee. Is still charging and wants a piece of Surikov.
I gotta say, if I'm Pascal Becker, I'm loving every minute of this. The longer they squabble, the more likely they get into a really unfortunate incident, which would guarantee or potentially give a good shot for a Windsor win.
Oh,
maybe even a
Lipinen
Racine win.
pits. Lipinen pits and Ingledew. They both pit. Bashir back into the points. And
Woodford
Woodford,
moves into
Jeremy
10th.
Woodford's in the points. Where did he come from? We haven't really noticed him at all so far this race.
Well, he's been keeping it out of trouble, which is more than can be said of his teammate in 21st. I mean, I hope he puts it together because if Van Dort have given him a good car and it's apparent that they might have, then he only has himself to blame for that mistake.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Cassidy also, by the way, is lurking in 11th and is really hoping that Bashir does have to pit still.
Bashir, I think, does need to pit, so it's going to be a question of who can go to the end and who can't. We know Sharp is good to the end, along with the two Rossinis, as we see Bashir, his tires, they might not. He comes in, he can't make it, unfortunately, but he will have some fresh supers to at least attack on, and Lipinen moves down to 11th.
I'm wondering, with Bashir pitting now the script has flipped a bit, because now Lipinen has to catch Casserly, and Bashir has to try and put on a charge, but the problem in front for Bashir is quite a few people in front of him, they have soft tires as well. That could be a problem.
They have soft tires as well, and he's got a big gap to close to 14th alone. Points look like a tall order from here. As we see, Udris is trying to make a move on Teresa Lee here, but just can't quite do it. And we're seeing that Pascal Becker's tires have almost collapsed versus the two Rizzatos. If I were Pascal Becker, I'd be coming into the pit lane now because there is a easy pit stop gap between Jacqueline Ostenreich and Zoe Sharp for
I
fifth and
agree.
sixth.
I agree.
There's
Yeah,
no point in this.
he could easily pit and come out ahead of Sharp, who's six, and then he would still have enough time to put on a charge and try and catch both of the Rossinis for a podium. Meanwhile, Udris is trying to catch it past Lee for seventh.
This
Not
looks like
quite
it's
into
one of the
turn
only
one.
fights we've got, as there's Lipinen making a move.
Lipiden, there he is. There's Castley, and there's Ingledew right behind. Can Lipinen get back into the points? Castley's gonna have his work cut out for him in that Zach car to try and hold on to it.
Zach Motorsport getting a point. Would you believe the headlines down at their factory in Braxley? It would be amazing if they got one.
I think it would be pretty impressive for Lipinen to charge all the way back up into the points here. Despite the circumstances, that would be a great try for him, and it is going to be a great try for him. Lipinen denies Castley a point for the time being. Meanwhile, Udris still trying to get Lee for seventh. Theresa Lee is still hanging on. Zoya Udris is still not giving up. Meanwhile, gap up at the front is now 3.4 seconds between the teammates. So Makarova's going to be hoping that those soft tires on Surakov's car begin to fade with 8 to go this time by.
And Becker is still not hitting the pits.
Bashir!
Almost sacrificed. Oh, Bashir did lock up there, and he might sacrifice third to Hashimoto here. This is a bit of a weird decision on the Windsor garage. I mean, he should still be safe to come out ahead of Zoe Sharp and secure a top 5, but any hope of a podium and competing with Olga Makarova is gone.
Ingledew, meanwhile, has moved up into 11th past Casserly. And team radio from Surikov was a simple question. Nico, can you make it? Nico's response, duh. So Nico seems pretty confident. Surikov
can go to the end.
He seems pretty confident that he can make it, so he's gonna go for it. Speaking of going for it, Ingledew's trying to go for it and trying to deny Lipinen the point now. And just ahead of this fight, that's Jeremy Woodford just dead ahead in the orange and white car.
And there's Pascal Becker, who has been passed. He's about to get passed by Chiaki Hashimoto for third.
How does Becker let that happen?
What on earth have Windsor done here?
How did Becker let that happen?
That is a disaster.
And Becker's trying to hang on. We're not seeing this because we're paying attention to this fight. Now we see it as Hashimoto has cleared and Becker pits now. 6 to go. That is a terrible decision from the Windsor team. They pit Becker with 6 to go. Can't even catch Jacqueline for fourth at this point because I think the podium is gone.
I mean, there's a possibility he might, but of course the Rossini's tires are safe and sound here. They'll be able to, at the very least, pick up a solid haul of points, unless a true miracle happens in the final 6 laps. But Nikolai Surikov is in the lead. Makarova, though, is closing back
to
in.
the inside of Woodford.
I don't like how Surikov's tires are looking, as Ingledew does make an overtake back for 9th.
The rear tires are looking a little bad here, which you kind of need. You definitely need the rear. You need the rear tires, and you need the rear tires for traction. You definitely need the left front given the corners here. So
Zuber is locked up in 18th.
Yep. Zuber locks up. Woodford now down to 10th. Lipinen is now staring at the back of Woodford for the final point. Again, Udris finally gets by Lee to move up into 7th and put the two Katanos 6 and 7 with the Verdes now 8 and 9.
And there it is. Makarova's gaining even more time. That was 8/10 in that lap. I think she might be able to hold on for the win here.
Makarova is closing now, so Surikov is going to have to put the hammer down if he's got anything left.
I don't think he does. This might be over. As we see Lipinen looking for a move on Jeremy Woodford. It's going to be a close one here. Woodford will try to defend with everything he's got.
Oh,
Lipinen's
and
got to go to the inside.
Aki did the inside of Woodford, and Aki did the inside of Woodford, trying to get the final point to the outside of Woodford, still hanging on through the triangle into the box.
It's not where you want to be in the cube section. You don't want to be here in the cube section.
Still hanging on to it. Still hanging on to it as we got team radio from both cars. Nico M0 Con, whatever that means, and Olga was just simply told, go, go, go. So
I think it's a question of allowing Surikov to carry on.
So yeah, it looks like it's open season between the two now. The team's gonna let them go for it and let them sort it amongst themselves.
I don't think they're going to sort out amongst themselves. I think this should be Makarova's race to lose. And there is Udris going on after Zoe Sharp, her teammate. Sharp is going to be really delighted with 6th place. Gitano seemed to have made a huge step forward ahead of the Verde Equipo team.
And Makarova's there.
Hold on.
Makarova's there within a second now. Between the teammates are now neck and neck as Becker sets the fastest lap in 5th. That would have been good if he had done that about 10 laps earlier when he should have been.
That would have been good, yeah.
Can Surikov hold on is the question. I don't think he can. He's not looking great out of the traction zones. Really not looking good now. Really not looking good.
And to the inside, it's going to be a move.
Makarova to the inside.
Makarova takes the lead.
From 18th on the grid, Makarova overtakes her teammate to take the lead back coming to the final lap of the race. Lipinen back into 10th now, Lipinen back into 10th now, by the way, ahead of Woodford. The two Katanos are still dueling with Theresa Lee right behind them if the Katanos make a mistake.
Just amazing management by Olga Makarova. She refused to listen to her team when they had a different plan in mind, and it has worked out for her now. She has cleared the slipstream range over Nikolai Surikov, and it looks like it's going to be Makarova's race here just across the horseshoe. She will come across the final turn as it is going to be the reigning world champion is going to be successful again. Olga Makarova wins with Nikolai Surikov in second.
From 18th on the grid as well. Unbelievable from the defending
champion. We have a fight for 6th.
Oh, Udris!
Go Udris and Sharp.
Udris! Drag race to the drag race. Udris gets it by just under a 10th of a second. What a finish for those two. Ingleton comes home 9th, and Aki Lipinen from 20th on the grid to 10th at the flag. Great job for Aki Lipinen to get a point for Asia Road. Woodford misses on an 11th.
Asia Road on the board immediately. That is great news. And I'll tell you what, Rezzarto, they may not have the best car, but they executed this race to perfection. Rossini gonna be an unfortunate second today with Hashimoto in third and Jacqueline. And there are some disturbing questions that Steinman have to answer for now because they are a long way off now. As we are about to check scrutineering and see if everything is okay. It's official. Olga Makarova from 18th to 1st is your race winner. And Pascal Becker from 17th to 5th. Great drive from him. I gotta wonder, though, what were Windsor thinking? Would that there be a safety car at the end? I mean, because they could have gotten 4th, maybe even 3rd, if they had left that any earlier than they did.
I don't know either. That's something that we're going to have to ask Claire Windsor, the team principal, at a later time, I suppose.
It's a difficult one, but yeah, the title defense for Olga Makarova starts off brilliantly. We are having a great start to the season. That was a wild safety car lap 6, when 3 cars dropped out at the same time. It's allowed some of the midfielders to score some points, and there we see on the podium Makarova, satisfied in her own confidence. Great work from her. And Hashimoto will have to settle for 3rd, her main rival.
Looking at the official standings now, just Steinman at the bottom. That doesn't seem real. Well, all right.